Hey everybody, welcome to Average Guy Opinions. I'm your average guy, John Corelli. This is part 3 of my life in protest. Covered the 80s, which is just a few, covered the 90s, which was really just the one I mentioned and kind of talked about ad nauseum, to be fair, but it was the one that really sticks out in my mind. But now I'm going to talk about the George Floyd protests that happened in 2020. They were pretty amazing. They were really pretty amazing. I mean, yes, was damage done? Absolutely. Was that the norm? Absolutely not. For any one of my right-wing friends that likes to say, hey, they were all destroying property and people were getting hurt, I'm not going to say that did not happen. I am going to say I went to 4 of these things, and what I saw was generally good. I will also say this: night protesting is when the troublemakers come out. It really is the so-called Antifa types, as the right wing likes to call them. But the more radical, the more violent, they will come out at night. And so I only went out for one night protest out of the 4, and I'll tell you my brief synopsis, or not so brief synopsis, on all 4 of them. The first one was a week after George Floyd was killed. Obviously, we know the video. We know everything went viral. And we know what happened with the entire case, and we know that Derek Chauvin is in prison and hopefully will rot there or die there, or both. I guess when you rot, you die. Anyway, so I went about a week in, and my former son, now daughter, was really into it, and I was so proud of the kid. Dad, we got to do something. I go, we can go down and protest. We did. And we went down to the Capitol, and it was weird because, like I said, we waited a week, and that was some hot and heavy, violent, often damaging protesting being done. It was weird seeing your Capitol building covered in spray paint and people scrubbing it off because it was daytime. It was weird seeing a fence around the Capitol building, but it was something that I think needed to be done. I don't like violence. I don't like doing damage to public property. I don't like doing damage to anything. It's counterproductive. But how much are we supposed to take? Not only people in general, but black people in particular. How much violence at the hands of the police are they supposed to take before they finally do something? And once again, this is like I mentioned in the last video with the 1991 protest I went to. It was mostly white people. And I'm going to talk about some good, bad, and ugly of white people joining something that's not necessarily all about them, right? So we went to this first protest. Like I said, it was a week after. I think it was on a Wednesday, about a week after George Floyd was killed. And like I said, I saw all the damage, but I was there with my kid. I was there with a couple other teenagers, 2 friends of my child. And we just we made some signs: Black Lives Matter, ACAP, the anti-cop stuff, which is fair, right? When cops are killing the populace over and over, it's fair to have that attitude on cops. And most people honked horns, some people flipped this off, but for the most part, we had support. And it was interesting being around other people, talking to people, milling around the Capitol. And that was generally what it was. It was me taking my kid to a protest who really wanted to go, and a couple other kids. So that was good. I went to 2 others. One was very similar. I think it was about another week later. Just went down to the Capitol again. Things had mellowed out, had gotten... Oh, no, actually, I'm sorry. I didn't go to the Capitol again. I went to Aurora. Aurora was weird and got ugly, too. But once again, it was when we weren't there. We were smart, and we were lucky at the same time. Generally, things don't get ugly during the day. And I told my kid, I really like that you want to protest, but I'm not going to do it at night because I don't want to put you or myself in danger. It's not responsible. Things get weird at night. That's just human nature. So we went to Aurora, and there were a lot of people there, and it was on the lawn of often these places are called the Taj Mahal. It looks like a huge municipal building. The cops are there. There's a library there. There are other offices there, and we went there, and we were on the lawn, and everything was pretty good, and we could see on the roof that there were cops up there. It almost looked like sniper, which was a little frightening. I think all he had was like a telescope and binoculars, but it looked like that tripod could easily been used to assemble a sniper rifle, which is a little terrifying when you're there peacefully protesting, as guaranteed by your Constitution, right? And so there was a little side group, and they were a little more. There was a group on the main stage. And then there was a second group, like a splinter group starting, and they were getting loud. They weren't doing anything wrong, though. They're just being loud. And of course, the cops had to come and flex their muscles. They come out in riot gear. There are offices and stuff around there. And the people were on the sidewalk. They weren't going too close to the offices. They weren't touching the building. They weren't even really that close to the building. And these cops, though, they had to show flex their little muscle. And then things got heated. And even I went over there then. And I at first wanted to listen, and then I got a little closer. And it felt there was an adrenaline rush there, which you got to be careful of, especially when you're 54 or whatever I was 3 years ago, 53. Got to be smart. My kid's there with me. You got to be smart. And for a minute there, I wasn't smart. But you feel that adrenaline rush of all this youth and energy telling these cops to go fuck themselves because we didn't do anything wrong. And you're starting to push us back with your riot gear and your batons. And you got your face shields on, you got your big old shields up. This is a show of force for no real reason. Once again, that whole argument of protecting people versus property, right? The whole Kyle Rittenhouse argument. Well, they were burning shit, so you have a right to go in and shoot people. No, you don't. You don't. You walked right past the cops to do that, Kyle. So shut the fuck up with that bullshit rationale. Anyway, so that started getting ugly. And this was the beautiful thing that happened. People, there are a lot of socialists there. They're wearing red T-shirts, and they're organized. And they said, nope, we're not going to clash with these cops. Take it to the streets. And we did. We fucking took over the streets, and it was on the news and everything. Thousands of people poured onto Alameda and then went down Alameda. It's a couple blocks to the highway, to I-225. Poured onto I-225. We stopped traffic for hours. And I felt bad for those people that were in that traffic. If I were in that traffic, I would have been pissed. But as a protester, saying, hey, fuck these cops killing people, and fuck these cops pushing citizens that pay their wages around. And we did. And we marched all the way down 225, I think, to 6th Avenue. We made a big square back to the municipal building. To the cops' credit, even though they started the bullshit, to the cops' credit, they blocked off the roads and let us protest because they weren't just going to let cars run us over. So that was nice. Yeah, and then unfortunately, later that day, which we weren't there for, like I said, things get weird at night, even if it's something mild. The protests continued, and there was a family thing. They wanted kids to learn about protesting and to show up for this, and that, hey, even us kids think this is wrong what happened to George Floyd. And there were families there, and there were some non-families there too. I'm sure there were, like I said, the Antifa types. And you see them, they're all in black, they got the masks on, you're like kind of looking like, guys, just don't start any shit. And sometimes they did. But in this case, nobody started shit. It's all recorded, and it's all been on YouTube before. Cops just started fucking just shoving people around. There was no reason for it. There were people on blankets. There were families sitting on blankets, listening to music. There was music being played, protest-type music, I guess. Maybe even not that. And these cops got their panties in a bunch because they've been watching people protest on their front lawn all day. Not your front lawn, fuckers. It's our front lawn. It's yours and ours, okay? The people paid for that fucking lawn and that building and that gun and that baton and that uniform that you should wear with some pride. So, that happened. Like I said, wasn't there for that. And this video is probably going to run long because now I got 2 more to talk about. So I had Denver protest, the Aurora protest, and then another Denver protest about maybe another week after that. And that was another beautiful thing. Once again, and it is funny because the cops seemed to mellow as the time went on. They understood, man, this many people saw this thing. We in our hearts know it's wrong, but we still have to defend it. It's almost like the Nazis, right? We know we're killing all these Jews, but we're in this far now. So we got to keep doing what we're doing. Human brain's a crazy place, a place that's full of rationale, right? Unfortunately. Excuse me. So, yeah, this video is going to go long. So be it. If you want to watch it, watch it. If not, it's fine. So, yeah, the following week I went to another protest with my friend James, and was hoping for some other people to show up. Didn't matter. There were thousands again. And we did the similar thing. We went to the Capitol building, and we marched. We just marched through downtown. We went, I think, down the 16th Street Mall for a while. We did a big circle back to the Capitol. And once again, it was a beautiful thing. And this is what I was referring to a minute ago, where the cops seemed to mellow. This time it was really funny. They were handing out bottled water to protesters, blocking off the roads, letting us protest. Everything was cool. And I also mentioned this in the Martin Luther King video, where a lot of people that were part of the movement, um, but sometimes trying to co-opt it. It was good that trans people's lives matter. We were doing chants about that. We're doing gay Black lives matter. That mattered, right? All of that. But then there were people, because this is a Black-led movement, as it should be. As white people, we should only be there to support. We're not the voice. We're not the leadership. We're here to support. We're here to show, yeah, we're fucking tired of these cops killing Black people too. That should be it. And we're showing that you have numbers. You have a lot of white people that are on your side. That is our role. That's where it should end. It didn't. A lot of people, and I saw a lot of lesbian women, white lesbian women, try to co-opt this movement. And the Black women said, shut the fuck up, sit the fuck down. They did. They literally said that on the stage. Like, this is not your movement. You want to be part of this movement, you shut the fuck up, you sit the fuck down, you listen to our leadership. It was really cool. Young, strong Black women telling white women, you're not co-opting this movement. This is about a Black man who died at the hands of police, and many, many, many Black men and women who have died at the hands of police. That's what this is all about. You want to support us, march with us, join in the chants, do it. You want to do your own shit, do it over there. It was really, really cool to watch. And another part of that protest I remember, we went to, I don't know where it is. It's at the DCPA. It's right off of Spear, where the big white people, the big white statues that are dancing. And we went there and we all kneeled. We kneeled and people said, no, feel it. It should fucking hurt. We kneeled on one knee, just like the cop did. I don't want to say his name because he doesn't deserve a name, to George Floyd, and said, no, feel it. Feel that pain in your knee for the 9 minutes that George Floyd felt that pain in his neck as he slowly died. And it was really effective. You can see it still hits me today. It was a great way to do a protest. You know, we went downtown, ended up there, kneeled, and then came back to the Capitol. And I misspoke just a second ago when I talked about the co-opting of the movement. That was not that protest. That was the fourth one I went to, which I'm going to talk about right now. And that was after the Breonna Taylor verdict, which also happened during all this George Floyd stuff. For those of you that don't know, Breonna Taylor was shot by a cop. Cops that went into the wrong apartment, did not identify themselves, and just saw a Black guy go into an apartment and say, oh yeah, he's the guy we want. No, you're wrong. He's not the guy you want. He had a gun, legal gun. I don't know if he got any shots off or not, but they shot and killed this woman, Breonna Taylor, being in her house. Then they acquitted the fuckers. And I think they may have won a civil suit later. I hope they did. But it doesn't bring Breonna Taylor back, you know. So after that shitty verdict, we went downtown again. And it was a smaller protest. Probably several hundred. And we took over the streets again. It was cool. But this one was at night. Kind of broke my own rule. But I knew it would be smaller, and so I figured, but there are the Antifa kids, as I call them. They got their little batons, they're beating mailboxes once in a while, breaking a window, spray painting some shit. I'm like, I know, it's not helping, man, because that's what the media is going to focus on. They're not going to focus on the 99% of us that are out here protesting peacefully and chanting and angry, but not violently showing that anger. They're going to show you guys beating shit up and spray painting shit and looking bad because you're all covered. You're not brave enough to even show your faces. But, so that was at the end of that protest. We ended up on the steps of the Capitol again. And that's where, like I said, this group of white lesbian women started trying to take over this shit and saying, well, these are our needs. And this other group of Black women just got in the bullhorn and said, nope, you don't like it, you can leave. You're here to support us. Like I said earlier, this is our movement. This is our problem. We want your support. We don't want you to co-opt this into making this some pro-lesbian thing. And let's be honest about this, wildly honest about this. There are plenty of gay people, there are plenty of trans people that are fucking racists. It's true. And so you got to take that into account, right? If you want to have your own movement, have your own movement. If you want support, try to garner support. But don't co-opt someone else's movement and make it about you. It's not what it was about. I made this 15 minutes. There's my life in protest, especially the recent ones, the 4 I did in 2020. I will see you guys next time. Thank you once again for listening and watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.